Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
And I'm Chris Yee.
Today we're taking a look at a game called How to Save a World. Not How to Save the World. This is the planet Alaria. It's many light years from Earth.
Exciting.
I guess, honestly, this might help some people. The fact that it's not Earth makes it less real, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. No one cares about the Larians.
And also allows you to have scoring cards that are weird species.
That's about it. Yeah, otherwise it's Deep Impact. It's Armageddon, man.
Yeah, it is. But there is no miners to train here, and no heroic space crew. You're trying to build a laser, put up the shields, or just get out of Dodge. Here's how it plays. The meteorite is heading towards Earth here, and you have these three projects that you're trying to do. Shoot the laser, blow up the meteorite, put up a shield to stop the meteorite, or worst comes to worst, evacuate off the planet. These tracks are going to be filling up with cubes, and if any of them gets to here, then impact is about to happen. And if this meteorite gets all the way to the end of the track, impact will happen. In between all that, players are going to be taking turns. Each player has their own board here where you'll keep track of your energy, knowledge, mineral, organic, and then the very last one, ingenuity, which is essentially a wild resource. And you're going to be collecting these resources over the game. You also have this barrier here, which you can move up over the course of the game. And at the beginning of each round, if you're below that, you'll move up there. So it's kind of a way to produce more resources. You also have some technologies that you can upgrade over the course of the game. Whenever you do technology, some of them will help your actions get better. Some will immediately let you do things like raise these down barriers at the bottom. And others will give you points when different cubes are pulled from the bag. On a player's turn, they have three different options that they can do. One of the things that you can do is you can play an action card. And players are going to start with a starting action card, and you'll have a chance to buy more. There'll be a display of more cards. Action cards always cost an energy to play, and then you simply do whatever's on it. So this one will move up one of your tracks, and another track basically for each tag that you use. Speaking of tags, players have a chance to get moon, science, and earth tags, and sometimes you'll spend them. They'll be regenerated each turn to activate things. And if you have cards in your hand with tags on, you can discard those cards to get those tags when taking actions. The second thing a player can do on their turn is they have these workers here, these landing units, and you have some on the planet and some on the moon, and you can simply pay an energy to move one from one spot to another. That's your whole turn. But what you can do is if you have one in a spot, you can place it on one of these spots here to get that action. So if you want to take the actions up there, you're going to have to go to the moon. And as time goes by, there's going to be more spots in the moon that are going to be opening up. Many of these actions are simply going to be getting resources down here, like get 3 resources or 2 for every earth tag that you spend. Some will let you buy more cards. And then some actions are going to allow you to try to work on these projects. When you work on a project, you'll have a disc here, and you are trying to move it along here. The cost in resources of that color, you'll be moving them here so that first they're 1, then they're 2, and the first person to get to these spots will be getting bonus points. Also at the end of each track are some tiles. Whenever you move, you'll get the bonus of that tile. When you get to certain spots, these tiles will be removed, making the remaining tiles even better. And so you're trying to move on these tracks because at the end of the game, whichever project works, that whoever's farthest on those tracks is going to get extra points. At the end of a round, you're going to be pulling cubes from this bag. Whenever you work on project, you'll throw cubes of that color of the project you worked on into the bag. But there's also black cubes per number of players in the bag. And when you pull these cubes from the bag, if you pull black cubes, the comet's going to move and make different things happen, which can replace cards or throw more black cubes in the bag. And when you pull the pink, blue, and green cubes, they'll be placed on this board. When the end of the game is triggered, you're going to see which project happens. First shot is the laser. You'll pull 10 more cubes from the bag. Black and pink cubes go here, and if it fills completely up, then the laser worked, and that's the end of the game. If the laser doesn't work, then a few cubes move down here to the shields. You pull some cubes and see if the shields go off. If that's the case, then that's the way it stopped. Otherwise, the green one is the major project. Whichever one's a major project, you will check on the main board to see whose discs are farthest ahead, And then those players, whoever's farthest ahead, get 18, then 10, then 5. The other two tracks farthest ahead is 8, 6, and 4. Players will also have some cards. They'll start with one card and have a chance to get more species cards as the game goes by. And these will give you endgame bonuses. Now, I will say one thing that's interesting with the cards, whether they're the species cards or these boost cards, which can be played when you take an action that will give you a benefit when you do that action. And then the action cards is you'll start with 3 cards, and whenever you buy a card, the cost of that card and resources is the number of cards you have, 3. Even if you put them in your discard pile. Every turn you put them in your discard pile, you will get them back at the beginning of next turn, so you'll have them again, but the more cards you get, the more expensive cards you get. Anyway, whoever has the most points at the end of the game is the winner. Okay, let's talk about components first. This is a Burnt Island game, and they tend to have really good rule books. I'm very happy with the rule books, the way they're laid out. There's a decent amount of iconography in this one, and some of the stuff is a little like when they do half of one planet, half the moon, half the earth tokens. But other than that, I thought it was pretty easy to understand. My only complaint, and this is a very entitled complaint, I suppose, is that I know there exists a version of this with dual layer boards. And I wish I had that version, especially on the player board, because you're moving up the things. And I wish they had done that even with this is the retail version I showed you. I wish they had just done a single layer board with punch outs then.
I love that. Yeah, you don't have to have dual layer. You can just have slots for your trackers to fit into. That'd have been great. That's kind of the biggest complaint on production, the small little things like on the end of each of those tracks, you have to stack the 3 tokens in order. That's very minute things. And anyone who plays tons of fiddly bit heavy Euro games is going to say, oh, that's baby talk, right? But I mean, that's for like the average audience, this is not aimed at heavy gamers per se. I think that just those little things, iconography, some of that stuff.
I do feel the theme is helpful in teaching the game. It makes sense what you're doing. Hey, we're shooting a laser, and if the laser doesn't work, then put up the shields. Oh, those didn't work. At that point, I feel like it'd be too late to get off the planet. But hey, let's evacuate. Maybe it's a Stargate.
Yeah.
You have them set up all over the planet. But I like that idea a lot. I also irrationally like that giant comet moving through the board.
It's funny because when you set it up and it's dangling off the board, you go, no, that looks terrible. But just, within a few turns, it's going to be, the tail is less and less creeping off, past the score track. It's a weird look, but also it has that fun visceral. It's not just a big circle, you move closer. It's this huge fireball that's going to end Laria? Alaria. It's going to end Alaria, baby.
It is. There's a couple things about this game I really like. One is the worker placement. As you put down the landers, and one thing I didn't show you is at the end of a round, depending on where you put the workers, it will either put them back on the moon or the earth where they came from, or it will shuttle them to the opposite. So your workers are constantly moving around, and you have to decide whether it's worth the energy, because energy is very valuable in this game, to move to the other spot to get a good worker spot. But that also takes your turn up. Unless you buy the upgrade that lets you then immediately take an action.
And that's one of those things where every rule in here feels good, and then there's also a couple of little rules, little upgrades and stuff that you can supersede some of those little annoying rules. There's some games where I feel like your ability to function on your turn is dialed back, but there's an upgrade you can get to make you feel like taking a normal turn. These already feel like good turns. That whole idea of repositioning one of your workers, it feels like, okay. If I had balanced out the actions I took, then I could have had everything where I needed it, or I'll just spend a turn and do that. Or you can get this upgrade. Everything in there feels good, and then there's ways to upgrade and feel better, which is a way that I like that being done.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the general overview of this game is that every action you take feels good. Yeah. If you're going to get resources, you're probably getting at least 3. It's a lot of resources. When you work on one of the projects, it's fun to move down tracks. But I really like the card play. The card play is just amazing. You get 3 cards to start with. And I was like, oh, wow, cards are really expensive. But it's because you get to use the same card every turn if you want. And I was like, why would I ever discard a card for the icons when I rather have the action on it? Oh, because again, you get them back every turn.
Every round, at the end of the round.
Every
yeah.
round, right? Every
Yeah.
round you get your cards back. And it's a nice little flow. There's even ways you can get rid of cards out of your hand. And do you want more scoring cards? Because they, added together, they could really make the difference. But during the game, they're not as useful, but they are a little useful because of the icons on them.
I agree, and that's a nice feeling is when you look at the worker placement spots where like you want to get 3 resources or 2. I'm like 3. And then I realized, oh, that's 2 per Earth or planet icon. Oh, I could really combo this into some huge turns. Or you can try to do a heavy production strategy where you keep moving up those minimum markers. And so you just spend like wild, you convert things into others, and then you just refill all of your resources at the start of each round. There's several satisfying ways to play this out. It's not a huge branching decision space, but it doesn't need to be for this game. It's, once again, not one of those like heavy, crunchy Euro games, but it feels very rewarding. It feels like there's multiple ways to play and multiple ways to kind of build up a stronger engine over the course of play.
Now, that being said, I like all that stuff, and I don't even mind this next part, but you need to be warned that pulling the cubes from a bag is a bit of a crapshoot.
Oh.
You could put a lot of cubes of one type in the bag, and that project's probably going to be the one that happens, but it might not be. You could always also, I like the order. You can be safe and really work on the evacuation one.
Yeah.
Hoping the other 2 projects don't work well. Of course, if everyone does that, then we know the other projects won't work well, but something's going to happen. But that's the main focus of luck in the game, I think.
And I think it's nicely player-driven where things are more likely to happen, but it might not, right? So you should hedge your bets. You shouldn't work on only one track. The laser sounds the coolest. I'm going to work on the laser only. Oh, it didn't quite work because people saw me rush ahead on it, and everyone said, well, I'm not going to contribute to that. So all of a sudden, everyone else starts working on the shield, and the shield's the thing that fires off and saves the planet. I like that player-driven dynamism, but, as you mentioned, with a decent amount of luck nonetheless.
Sure. And, again, the game isn't super long, so that doesn't bother me that much. What would you give it?
Score-wise, I'm coming down on an 8 on this one. I really like this. The theme, as you said, makes the game so teachable, and it gives it a little sense of tension. It also explains every aspect of the game thematically pretty well. I like balancing the different energy resources, or the different resources and stuff, the energy and the science stuff. And I love the upgrades. Like I said, there's so many ways that you can make yourself stronger over the course of the game. And at the end of the day, it just has this cool, visceral, thematic feel for what otherwise could have been a boring efficiency worker placement game. No, it feels great because of that theme.
Yeah, I'm actually the same, an 8, and a lot of it is the theme. I love movies where there's something coming to destroy Earth, we need to stop it or not stop it. It doesn't matter to me. I like the idea, though. I love moving up tracks, right? That's just something I like doing. And this one, there's a nice give and take, and the card system works really well for me. I think if you like Endeavor Deep Sea, another game from Burnt Island Games, I think you like this one, even though they're not particularly the same at all. But they fill the same void for me where there's a fun theme that you want to do. In that one, you're discovering the sea. In this one, you're saving the world. And you take simple, easy actions to build to that end.
Yeah.
And cool. So I think that there's some... I almost feel like you're saying, although this one's not getting talked about much at all. But I think it's worth your time.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. If you like a small comparison I want to make, Vital Lacerda's On Mars has that two-sided worker placement thing, right? This does that in such a more approachable way. This is a game, I agree, Tom, more people should check out. I wish that there was a little more buzz on this one because I think it's really solid.
Well, that's How to Save a World. I'm Tom Vasel.
And I'm Chris Yee.
And we'll save the world, one laser at a time. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.